going to get started with our community meeting. First, let me just say I want to welcome everybody to Ruth Fellowship Ministries. I'm Pastor Tracey Brown, also Councilwoman Tracey Brown. I called this meeting along with some of my colleagues in reference to questions that some of the residents had at Liberty, who live at Liberty Village. And I wanted residents there to be properly informed on what's going on, because there's a lot of rumors out there that needs to be dispelled. So that's why we're here this evening. We are going to have a presentation from our economic development director, Mr. Sanchez, and we're grateful for him to be here and all the council people. We're grateful that the residents are here, but again, we want to make sure that the truth is told and not just rumors. Is that all right tonight?
All right.
Also, there's some coffee and there's some refreshments behind the petition. You're welcome to that. There's some more seats over here for those who need seats. But again, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I hope everybody feel welcome here tonight. Tonight is not a night to badmouth anyone. It's not a night to think bad thought. Is a night that we have come together as a community, and this is a wonderful thing. This is a wonderful thing because Plainfielders love Plainfield. So we're grateful tonight to have people who live in the first ward, the second ward, the third ward, that's concerned about you and concerned about making sure that you're treated fairly. So I think that's a wonderful thing tonight. I think we see a lot of unity in this room tonight, and I think that we're going to get some good information. Okay? Thank you so much. I'm going to introduce Bridget Rivers, who's the president of our council, and she will introduce everyone, and it will be in her hands.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to see a bunch of familiar faces out here. I called this meeting along with my colleagues because I understand there was a lot of rumors going around about us dispelling the Liberty Village project. Someone called me Saturday and said that their rent was going to be raised, housing authority was going to be taking back the project. All lies. So that's why I said it was extremely important to have this meeting tonight so that you, the residents, which I'm glad to see you all out here, this is just amazing, it's wonderful, so you will get the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Mrs. Sanchez will deliver that to you guys. Don't be worried. Myself, along with my colleagues, will never allow you guys to be without. I'm a product of the fourth ward, I'm a product of the project. I come from where you're from. I'm still there. My parents, my mother, everybody lives there. I love the fourth ward. So I'm here to say, and then there was a rumor stating that I knew exactly what was going on. No, I did not. No, I did not. I'm here to tell you right now, all the lies that you've been getting. Saturday, as me and Councilwoman Reverend, we sent copies of our flyers that we made up, stating that it came from management, saying that we're going to have you guys thrown out, your rent is going to be raised. I'm here to tell you that's all lies. So that's why I thought it was extremely important that you guys come out tonight to hear the truth. To hear the truth. Because you can't go by what you hear. You have to be here to hear it for yourself. Because if I say something, by the time we get to Miss Greaves, by the time we get to you, Jackie, by the time we get to you, it's going to be all wrong. So now you can hear it for yourself tonight. Okay? I'm going to turn it over to another, I'm going to allow another council person to speak, and as many of the council people that want to speak, and then I'm going to allow, we have our assemblyman, I just want to recognize our assemblyman, Jerry Green, who's back there in the back. He has some things he wants to say. I have Councilwoman Vera Greaves here, Councilman Bill Reed, Councilwoman Rebecca Williams. I have our former mayor, Sharon Robinson Briggs here.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
And the economic development person who's working out this beautiful contract. When they put it on our table, it was just like last minute. And for me, coming up the way I came up, when it's a rush, you start to wonder what are we rushing for? So in order for us to understand everything that's going on, I have to understand it before I can vote on it and say, yeah, this is going to be good. I mean, he tried to sell it to us on, what day was it, Monday? But something just didn't smell right. I said, you know, let me get the residents out here so the residents can understand what's going on and the residents can hear for themselves. I don't care how many times they put me on the blog. Go ahead, put me on the blog, do what you gotta do, but I'm still not going to support something that's I'm 100% sure that it's gonna work for the residents of Liberty Village. And that's extremely important to me. So whatever you heard out there is lies. You'll hear the truth tonight. Okay? Thank you.
My name is Vera Breeze. For those who don't know me, I am a representative for First and Fourth Ward. And I live in the Fourth Ward. I've lived in the Fourth Ward for as long as I can remember. And ladies and gentlemen, this was just dropped on me like 2 weeks ago. I had no idea of what it was about. And this is why that I'm glad that you all are out here, because along with you all I will get some clarification of what's going on. And we hope that that we can come to an agreement and figure out exactly what's in this for our best interest. Because we all live here in the Fourth Ward, and we know we can't jump and just do things just because somebody said that we should do it. We need to figure out, we need to really read the fine print and see what's in that fine print and whether it's to our advantage or disadvantage. So today I thank every one of you for coming out there, for looking out for ourselves, because if we don't, believe me, nobody else will. So again, thank you, and we're going to hear Mr. Sanchez, we're going to hear from Assemblyman Green, we're going to hear from all the people involved so we can have a clear understanding of what's going on.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Good evening, first of all. Welcome everyone to this community meeting. This is very important for everyone, and I am glad to see this turn out. Thank you for the council members that are here today, and Assemblyman Green for being here. This is important for everyone. So let me just tell you who I am before so you don't throw any tomatoes at me, okay? I'm here just to put the facts on the table and give you some what the gesture of what we're trying to do as far as the contract is concerned for Liberty Village. My name is Carlos Sanchez. I'm the new Deputy Executive Director for Economic Development for the City of Plainfield. I've been with the administration since February 1st of this year, and I think since I started, this is my 5th community meeting, so I'm getting used to this type of meetings, which is good. So let's go into why are we here? We're here to discuss a pilot agreement or a payment in lieu of taxes agreement for the Liberty Village complex. Most of you live in that complex, I assume. Oh, and I was told there was someone that doesn't speak English here, or everybody speaks English? Do I need to say it in Spanish, or?
We have some Spanish.
Okay, do I need to translate in Spanish, or are you okay? Whoever speaks Spanish. Los que no hablan inglés, ¿necesito traducir todo lo que está diciendo, o ustedes entienden suficiente para poder entender lo que estamos diciendo? Okay, so I'm going to have to translate. I hope you guys bear with me as I'm trying to do both languages. So anyway, so we heard about the Liberty Village complex. Again, I joined the administration in February of this year, 2014. And in my first week, I was asked to begin to look at this contract that was it was on the table when I started working with the city. And basically what the contract is all about is just for a new prospective buyer to come in and buy the Liberty Village complex, the 96 units that they have there, okay? In order for them to be able to do that transaction, in order for somebody to sell and somebody else to buy the complex, there is an agreement that started about 30 years ago, which it was approved by the city, which says that the owner of that complex pays a lot less taxes to the city under an agreement that is called the payment in lieu of taxes. Well, that's you're gonna hear me refer to it as the pilot agreement. So payment in lieu of taxes. So what that simply means, just in general, and that's used a lot in a lot of municipalities to be able to allow developments to take place in different municipalities. And what that really simply is, the payment in lieu of taxes, all it means is that the owner pays a much lesser amount of taxes to the city. When they do that, what happens is not that the city is losing taxes, but what happens is that the amount of taxes that we collect should be, and I say should be sufficient for the municipality to cover some of the costs that are always associated by maintaining any complex. For instance, in a Liberty Village, there always has to be police presence. We always have to have fire department attend to any of the needs of the residents. There still have to be public works that comes in and fix some of the streets. I know we have a lot of potholes now, but they're supposed to be doing that. And what happens is when you have a pilot agreement, the only thing that we're doing is we're not sending a portion of those taxes to the Board of Education for the school system. So technically, really what we're doing is not collecting a lot of the taxes that are due to the Board of Education. So that's why we're able to lower the taxes. So just to give you a little bit of the history, again, about 30 years ago, there was a pilot agreement or a payment in lieu of taxes approved for this facility. Now, today is 30 years later. Okay, at that time, that pilot agreement, that contract was approved for a full 50-year term. So right now, as we stand right now, they have an agreement for 50 years. So as of next month, it's going to be 30 years, so they still have another 20 years left under the current pilot agreement. So if the transaction doesn't take place, let's say that the transaction doesn't take place, what could happen there is that the current owner has the choice of continuing to service the contract agreement, assuming that HUD, the Housing Urban Development for the federal government, gives them a new contract, for subsidy. As you know, most of you that live at the Liberty Village, your rent is based on a 30% of your income. More or less is what it is. And that's mandated by the federal government. That's not mandated by the city, that's not mandated by the owner or anything like that. Under the contract that they have, they cannot tell you tomorrow that a new owner is coming in and he decided that he's gonna charge 40% instead of the 30%. You can't do it, it can't be done. Nobody's able to be able to raise your rent or anything like that. So now here we are, 30 years later, again, we do have a contract right now that is for a full 50 years. Now we have the opportunity of bringing a new owner that is willing to buy the property from the existing owner. Now, when we looked at the track record of the existing owner, the track record of the existing owner is less than desirable. They had failed a lot of the inspections from HUD. So your complex, your Liberty complex, it gets inspected. Hopefully once a year. It should be inspected by both the inspectors from HUD and also some of the inspectors from the city. Now, HUD issues a report that is called the REACT report. And what that report tells us, or tells the reader, is how, in what condition is the current facility. The report we received, I believe it was July of 2013, they had a score of about 55, okay? So think about when you go to school, from 1 to 100, obviously, if you get a 55, you fail, right? So there is no difference here. They received a score of about 55, which is telling us that the complex, the facility, the sidewalks, the apartments need extensive upgrades. Now, what they did, what the existing owner went out, he hired a management company, which is called Trico. And they came in, and the last report that we received, which was about September of last year, that score went up from 55 to 85%, okay? It's an improvement, it's a great improvement, but there's still more room for additional improvement. We normally would like to see those reports anywhere between 90 minimum to about 96, 97, percent, and that's a very good facility. So if you get about a 90, 95, I think you have a pretty good run facility. So right now they are about 85. So now the existing management company came into an agreement with the current owner to buy the property. So the existing management company, the same company that brought your score from 55% to 85%, entered into an agreement to buy the property and actually basically just telling the new owner, get out, and we're gonna continue to own it and manage this site. And that's what we have on the table. But in order for them to be able to go to the closing, there is in the pilot agreement that I mentioned that it was approved 30 years ago, there is language in there that says that if they change ownership, or if they're gonna sell the property, or if they're gonna transfer ownership and anything like that, they must come to the city for approval and allowing the pilot agreement to be transferred to the new owner. So that's basically what we ask them. We're not asking the city council members to provide or to give them a new pilot agreement. We're asking the city council members to allow the closing to take place and at the same time approve the transfer of the existing agreement to the new owners. However, since they came to us, and now we have the opportunity to improve the agreement that it was approved 30 years ago, so we negotiated a couple of more items, a couple of more suggestions, a couple of more provisions that we want the agreement to include. One of them, 30 years ago, again, I have to keep referring back about 30 years ago because it's 30 years ago that we had this agreement. 30 years ago, the agreement was approved that the owner will pay a percentage of the gross revenues to the city as part of the payment in lieu of taxes. And that percentage was 6.28%. So now, since we negotiated, again, we said, look, we're not gonna give you 6.28% because 30 years ago, that would have been a good rate. 30 years later, that's not a good rate for us, right? Because police and fire and Department of Public Works, that has increased the cost. So we negotiated an agreement that says that we will increase the percentage of that payment from 6.28% to a 10%. Now, what does that mean to anybody? That's percentages sound nice, but what does that really mean? What that really means is that, and I can give you an approximate numbers. Right now, the facility is paying approximate $87,000 a year in taxes to the city. Okay, that's at the rate of 6.28%. When we increase this to a 10%, that means that the city will get approximately $150,000 a year. So that's an improvement that we're making. In addition to that, we negotiated a couple of other items. Obviously, I mentioned to everyone that when we looked at this deal, we looked at the scores, and it was 55 in July, it went to 85, but we feel that the new company, the new management company should be able to do better in maintaining this facility. So in addition to the rate, in addition to the city being able to get additional funding, okay, we also negotiated a couple of other items. Number one, besides the rate, we negotiated an improvement in the apartment. So we negotiated that the new owner will have to improve the facilities, both in the electric, in the plumbing, the sidewalks, some of the windows, and improve even just in the regular paint of some of the apartments. Okay. So that's going to take place assuming that the new owner is able to buy the property, and that will be in writing in an agreement, okay? We haven't determined what the right number is, but I think our numbers show that it will be anywhere around $550,000 of improvement, and that's the number that we have more or less spoken about it to. In addition to that, when we went to do a site visit to the facility, we noticed that there is no community room. For whatever reason, 5 years ago or a while ago, they decided, whoever made that decision, and I'm not here to point any fingers or anything like that, I'm more interested in how do we move in the future, but they decided that for whatever reason, maybe there was no need for a community room, or they needed the space for storage, or they needed something else. But we found out, when I did a site visit, that there was no community room. That's part of the agreement that we have. We're saying we want our community room back, but we not only want the community room because, when we talk about community room, we gotta be specific on what do we want in that community room. A community room can be a room, 5 by 10, and just a room, and that could be called a community room. So we said to them, we not only want the community room for the community, but we also want to see in that community room has to be equipped with computers for the residents. And we're looking at about anywhere between 3 to 4 computers that will be available for the use of the residents. So that's part of what we negotiated in the new agreement. When I went to see the facility, I always ask, every time I do a site visit at any of the facilities, I always want to see the community rooms, I always want to see the playgrounds, I always want to see the common areas. So when I went to do a site visit, I asked to see the laundry facilities. And the laundry facilities are there, but there's not a lot of machines for the residents. So we negotiated. So again, we were not happy with what we saw there, and we requested. They agreed.
You're not answering my question. Where did you see a laundry room at? We don't have laundry rooms.
Like I said, there was no laundry facility, and that's what I said. There was no laundry facility. I didn't say that.
Excuse me, there's gonna be a time for question and answer, so let him make his presentation, and then you're welcome to ask questions afterwards,
Again,
all right?
the new agreement is calling for a laundry facility of 10 to 12 new machines, okay? That would be 6 dryers and approximately six washers, and that's what they agreed to do. In addition to that, they have agreed to install additional cameras and also to link those cameras to the police department so that the city can monitor those cameras. Also, we demanded that they need to have a super on site, and what we have agreed to it is that the super either has to live in the facility, they have to give them an apartment, or if that's not feasible for whatever reason, that's not possible, at least the super has to be a resident of the city of Elizabeth. There is no secret that I spent 11 years doing economic development in the city of Elizabeth.
Honest mistake.
And finally, what we have agreed is what we call in the business or in the industry a first source agreement. And what that really means is that obviously the new company is going to have to come in and maintain the property. They're going to need maintenance personnel. They're going to need staff to do what they need to do. So what they're going to agree on it, and again, all this is going to be in writing, it's going to be an agreement, it's going to be a contract that is signed, and what they have agreed is that every time they need to hire a person, regardless if it's a office staff or regardless if it's a maintenance person or anything like that, what they're gonna have, the first of agreement will say that in order for them to hire somebody, before they can hire somebody, they will have to communicate with the administration or with the city of Plainfield. It's probably gonna end up being through my office. And what we're gonna be doing at that point is they're gonna give us the job description and what the requirements of that particular position is. And our job is to hopefully have enough candidates that we can submit resumes or potential people that they can hire. And as long as they give us that opportunity to submit some of the candidates, then they will fulfill that part of the agreement. So that's basically what it is. That's basically what the whole agreement and the amendment is about. Now, let me just be clear. This amendment in no way has or will change any of your rents. It will not give any opening or any opening for the new owner to come in and decide that they want to raise the rent to 40, 50, 60%. They can't do that. That's mandated by the federal government. Now, what we do have is that every time you have a complex that is subsidized by the federal government, there is a contract that is called that is housing assistance payment or housing assistance program. And that current contract has been a 30-year contract, which based on the contract, it was agreed on May 9th, 1984, and it's a 30-year contract. So what does that mean? That means that May 9th, 2014, that contract expires. And that's where the urgency of approving this pilot program to allow the new contract. Now, that's what I have, and that's what has been presented to me. I haven't seen any extensions. I haven't seen any anything in writing from HUD that is saying that they're going to extend it to a month or 2 months or anything like that. They did have issued a new agreement, and that new agreement is dated May 7th, 2014. So now they're saying this well ends May 9th, 2014. HUD is prepared to give them a new 20-year starting May 7th, 2013. Why the difference in the 2 days? I'm not sure what the difference in the 2 days, but I'm saying 2014. And again, this will be a 20-year contract that allows the new owner to receive subsidy from the federal government to ensure that your rents don't go up. Because at the end of the day, you guys pay 30%, the federal government pays the rest. So this is what is the contract that is there. Again, it's a 20-year contract that equals the additional 20 years that is left on the pilot agreement. That's basically what the agreement is all about. Now, before we ask the questions, would you allow me to just very briefly, I won't go into details to do it.
Because I ain't got all night to be here. You finish this, man.
Okay. So guys, now you hear it from him. So all the rumors that you were getting, now that you heard it from him, all the rumors that you were getting, I hope that dispelled some of the rumors and some of the lies that were put out there about your rent being raised. It's ridiculous. So it's important. I'm so glad, Pam, I saw you back there. You told me you had a funeral today. I'm glad you came. When we walked, Vera and I walked on Saturday, and all the information that we were getting. Where's Hector? Hector, thank you. Because Hector, he got the flyer and he started walking around. He said, I'll make sure everybody's here. He lives in the company. Thank you, Hector. You gotta come and start, you gotta get involved, brother. It's important. I see how you bring all these people out. It's power in numbers. So what I'm saying is that I say all that to say that trying to dispel some of the information that you were getting. It's,
Yes,
oh,
they
management
did.
did that?
Allison, Bessie, yes, they did. They worked with our coders. Yes, they did.
Thank you. Thanks for telling us where that came from. Now I understand.
Good evening. How many people in this room actually live in the facility? Would you understand?
All of us.
Power in numbers.
You don't live here today?
You don't want to be here all night. Before I get started, I would like to ask the former speaker, have you reached out for HUD to get their input on this issue at all? No, just yes or no?
Come on, Miss Tracey Brown.
That's not being rude.
No one is going to disrespect anybody in this house. Nobody's going to disrespect him. He is an invited guest. He has gave us some vital information. You can make your speech. Please do not disrespect anybody in this house.
If anybody took that as a disrespect remark, then I apologize. But as head of housing here in the whole state of New Jersey, to totally ignore me, not call me, get my input, I call that disrespect. Okay? If you let me finish, I'll finish, okay? Well, this Liberty Village, excuse me, this Liberty Village, the reason why I say that,
live in Liberty Village? Yes, we do.
fine.
Excuse me. Please let him make.
All right.
Give him respect.
I said what I had to say. Now, 6 months ago, the current owner and the previous owner approached me about they wanted to sell the property. And the question that I asked was this: why are you selling it? The previous owner, we have put ourselves in the position that we cannot afford to bring the upkeep. We have basically dropped the ball. We have not given the public what they deserve. I asked the future owner, what do you plan on doing? Bottom line is that he was not able to give me any information whatsoever. So I said, I can't support this because I think it's important that we get the community input. I want to know for 30 years what you have not done and what they need. At that point, I said, I think you should reach out for some of the council members, which they reached out for Corey Storch. He made it very known. But I was not going to buy into anything that I felt was not fair to you. As head of housing, I deal with all entities all over the state. And I'm gonna tell you tonight, the reason why maybe I started off wrong, because I feel insulted the way you have been treated for 30 years. And the previous owner owned up to the fact that he did not treat you right. Now I asked the new owners, what are you going to put on the table? And they were not able to give me the answers. Now the reason why I asked that question, because I have reached out for the United States Congressman. Also, I reached out for our local housing authority to give me some input to find out what rights you really have and the rights that you have been violated. Now you talk about a laundry room, you're talking about this, you're talking about that. These facilities right now, HUD is about to close them because they do not meet the criteria that needs to be met. So I understand your frustration. This is not about me, this is about you, okay? So I'm starting at Washington to find out whether or not they failed to meet their obligation or they failed to negotiate, that you will not be put out on the street. So maybe I should have started off by saying, your concerns is my #1 concern. I can care less about who used to own it and who want to buy it. End of the day, they have totally disrespected you by not giving you the services that you deserve. We need to make sure that they connect with the police department so that you feel secure, okay? Number two, the services that you need to get are services that really, the bottom line, all over the state, people get. So for you to have to come here tonight and be concerned about put out, I've asked Congressman Rush Holt to reach out to Washington to make sure what rights you have. I would like to feel we take this back to the table with the council. The council was not notified to the 11th hour, which was done on purpose, and I'm not going to get into that neither. But the reality is that they have not done this in a fair manner. And the reason why I'm so shocked that the fact it's happened in my own backyard without anyone sitting down, talking to people who deal with this issue every day. Currently, the nonprofits are working with me because of the fact that they feel that, number one, the state has dropped the ball. Rather than put $200 million in the budget in order for affordable housing, they want to use the money for other reasons. The court said we're right. So maybe I do come here with a chip on my shoulder because of the fact that it's time that you are treated right. Because they're not getting no free money. That's money that you're entitled to. The services that you're asking for, you're entitled to. So you can be mad at me if you wanna. I'm gonna keep fighting for you. And I'm not gonna give up. So the bottom line is that I'm gonna find out from HUD to make sure, number one, that you won't be put out in the street. Number two, we need to revisit what you want, what you need. Not one time did I hear, what do you want? What do you need? What have they not given you? You're entitled to have your input into this process. So again, I want to listen. I want to answer any questions you have to ask. But the reality is that, unfortunately, do I have a lot of patience? No, I don't. Because the reality is that when someone tells me to my face, yes, I have treated the people in that complex wrong, you're going to get a paycheck and walk away and not put no money back on the table for the district services you gave them? And then the new owner's going to come along and feel they're going to run the same games? Not on my clock, whether you like it or not. The reality is that we're going to step up and this thing is going to be done right. The first thing you're going to do is find out from HUD, what rights do you have? Number two, trust me, they're not going to walk away from $10 million over there. Because there is, I'm pretty sure, 100 different units in this town that we can make sure that you will get the right housing. But if you're going to go back, they're going to be the new owners. I want you to be treated like everybody other citizen here in the city of Plainfield. You don't deserve any less service because the federal government is subsidizing that money. These people are not giving you anything whatsoever, and anything they have taken from you. So I look forward to talking to you for the rest of the evening. Again, thank you.
Okay, now we're at a question and answering period. I would like to hear from some residents of the Liberty Village first. What they would like to have, what they would like to see done. I mean, or just any questions you have in general.
Okay, hi, my name is Jackie and I'm a resident of Liberty Village.
How you doing, Jackie?
I wasn't nervous I wasn't nervous at all till I got here. And now I'm a little nervous because I don't really understand and know what's going on.
Right.
Like I have one side saying that we can be put out and however you guys saying that we're not. And then I hear you mention a contract, but the contract isn't signed yet.
What happened if it doesn't get signed?
I'm a little nervous because like I really don't understand like even why I'm here.
And we got kids.
The contract don't get signed.
The people that were telling you that you were going to get put out was incorrect. You're not going to get put out. If you listen to what he stated,
But he's also
Mr.
stating that
Sanchez.
we'll be put somewhere else. Why would he say that?
no.
He did say that. He said that. He said that. Now we don't want to leave Liberty Village. We want to stay.
First question. The first question I asked before we got off on the wrong, we got off in the wrong direction, but we're in the right direction now. The first thing I asked was a reason. That is why we have Rush Holt down in Trenton. That is why we have our United States Senators who are able to go and ask HUD to come into Plainfield and tell us their side of the story, what you are entitled to. Exactly. How else can you answer the question?
My question was, prior to me coming here, I wasn't nervous, but now I'm a little nervous because I really don't know the reason why I'm here. I'm getting all this information now, but like I said, one side is saying we could possibly be put out, and then you guys are saying that we can't be put out. But then I also heard him mention the contract, but it's not signed yet. So does that?
What did I say to you one more time? I'm not buying into whatever he said. I want to see what HUD has to tell us.
Because the contract hasn't been signed.
Signed by May the 7th, by May the 9th, whatever it's supposed to be. What happened if that's not
Well, let him answer the
signed?
maybe he can tell you where that comes from.
Like, why, like, in layman terms, like, why are we really, like, why am I really here? Like, what's,
Let me.
what?
You need to know what's in the
Hello? Hold on. Let me try to provide some clarification and make sure that what I said is understood. I know I do have an accent, so let me repeat it very slow. I never said that you guys were going to be put out. Okay, I never said that, and we do have it recorded, and I know I didn't say that. Here's what happens. In order for a transaction like this to go through, okay, to be consummated, to be completed, to be signed on the bottom line, there has to be an agreement between two different sides. Number one, HUD has to be in agreement. Okay, HUD has to be in agreement. The reason HUD gave a contract, a new contract, is because they have received enough information on their side to say that they feel comfortable in issuing a new contract. However, HUD will not allow this contract to be signed unless the pilot agreement comes along with it. Okay? Hold on 1 minute. And that's why HUD is saying we are okay with the transaction moving forward, but they rely on the city. Why do they rely on the city? Because the city is here. They can tell HUD, these are the issues, and we don't agree that you should. See, we have, if we wanted to, from the city's point of view, if we had not, we can communicate to HUD and say, HUD, we don't agree that you should give another contract because all these laundry items that are not being done. So again, one has to be approved with the other. Now, in reference to the question that the Assemblyman asked me, if I had communicated with HUD, the answer is no. I haven't communicated with HUD. But the agreement is that in order for us to sign the pilot agreement, the extension of the pilot agreement, the amendment of the pilot agreement, the amendment of everything that I went through, we will have to receive written confirmation from HUD that they are approving the contract and that they have received approval on their financing. If those two items don't happen, this pilot agreement is not going to be signed. Okay. Right. So what happens
So many words, you said that if the pilot don't get signed, we are getting evicted.
No, I never said that. Okay. Nobody is getting evicted. What happens is, if this contract doesn't get approved, okay? If this contract doesn't get approved, remember what I said. The pilot agreement is in place for 30 years and an additional 20. If this contract doesn't get approved
what Hardy's gonna come in, and whoever the coroner is gonna demand, or Hardy's gonna take action, but you guys are not getting kicked out, because Hard will make sure.
What I'm asking you is what happens when an item does not pass?
Let's calm down. Hold on. Hey, I love you all. All you know me. I'm a politician. I'm not elected. But let me tell you something real fast. This man who's sitting here, Jerry Green, is about as close to the governor as you can get in the state of New Jersey right now. Okay, he's the former speaker. What do you call speaker? Wait, hold on, let me give you the point. No, let me tell you something. Nobody can do nothing, not just in Plainfield, through the whole Union County. The man is responsible for all of these different municipalities. This is his home base, Plainfield. He lives here. Don't you know he's gonna make certain that y'all are taken care of first? Well, that's what's going to happen. Let me tell you something. Believe it and know it. This is nothing more than a business transaction. They don't care anything about you one way or another. Understand that. Yeah, hold it. This man is to make certain. Hey, hold it. Listen. This is to make certain that you have a place to stay and you're not going to be put out. He knows more about HUD than anything anybody in this place. Trust in the man. Please give him a break.
Then we will be put out.
Listen, excuse me, Reverend, I got this. Excuse me. I invited you all to this meeting as an informative meeting. Please remember where you are. Most of you know me. Please respect this house. Please respect the speakers. Each and every one of your questions will be answered, but you cannot all talk at the same time. Every one of your questions, I will assure you, will be answered, but please let them make their presentation. And please respect this house, and I invited you as my special guest. Even made coffee for you. Don't even know how to make coffee. I even made the cookie tray. So please, I promise you, all your questions are important and they will be answered. But what we have to do is respect each other. Can you say amen? Amen.
I just want to briefly say, in response to the question of this young lady. First of all, I'm going to have to try the coffee now. I'm Corey Storch. I'm councilman of Plainfield. I think I understand why the rumors came about. I don't know who started them, but here's what my understanding of the situation is. In order for this transaction to take place, which is necessary to get all of the things that Mr. Sanchez listed, in order for that to happen, the city council has to pass a resolution that will allow the subsidies to continue for another 20 years. Apparently, that has to happen in early May, whether it's May 7th or May 9th. Now, at the April council meetings in Plainfield, we did not take action. But I've spoken with the council president, and the council president assures me, and she could say this for herself as well. We had this discussion. She assures me we could schedule a special meeting before the due date, before May 7th or 9th, whichever one it is, and get this done. There's no reason why we can't do this. So once we do that, it doesn't matter what the rumors were, who started them. It's a done deal. You will get what's been promised to you. But it really is up to the council to take this action before May 7th.
You gonna stop sending all your threatening?
If we go down,
Them two right there.
I have faith in you. And I know you're not gonna let us go down, so. That's on you then.
If we get all the information, this is why we're here, to give information to the residents. This is why we took our time. I knew you guys were gonna be hostile, because losing your apartment, or believing that you're gonna lose your apartment, who wouldn't be hostile? Especially people that have children. So this is why I felt it was extremely important to come here and have this meeting. And this is why I asked Reverend Brown to have this meeting, because I know it will fall back on Vera, I, and Reverend Brown, and the rest of the council. You guys know we care. You know we care. you know we care. You can't think for one moment that we don't. And this is why, when it came across our table, I said I was not going to allow this to happen without us knowing everything, all details, having everything in writing. Because it's important to put it in writing. One thing they said that we will never understand it because we don't read. We're showing today that we do read. Amen. So it's extremely important for us to have all the details in writing. And I'm upset with the previous owners for making you guys believe that you were going to be put out, your rent was going to go up to $1,200. I had a senior citizen that went to my sister's house on Saturday, yelling and screaming, and it was wrong for them to do that.
Can we hear from you?
Yeah. Wait. Before we hear from her, let me hear. You've been trying to say something for a while.
I want to say, like, it's not us being worried about us just being, put out. It's us being worried that we live in an apartment, we live there, and that's supposed to be our home. We're supposed to be feeling welcome to be in our home. But then we got to sit through all this inspections, and stuff that still don't get right. It get patched up, this done that. But then we get blamed for a lot of the stuff. We get blamed, but then it's patchwork that's done. But it's good enough for inspection for them to come in. But with the houses that are really messed up, they're not taking them into there. They don't take them in there. They don't take them in there. Instead of moving people, instead of putting people in, we should have been moved around, and our spaces should have been fixed up.
All right.
Not us being like tossed around like trash. Like now that this thing is coming into play, now everybody cares about us. But was they caring about us before?
Right.
Some people shouldn't even be here today. Why are they even here? When there was other people was managing, we wasn't even getting that same thing. They was just doing us dirty. My baby he got bronchitis. Both of my kids got bronchitis from mold being in our walls and stuff like that. How many times do we have to wait for this to happen? Now we sitting all in here, and then we gotta sit here, and we're not gonna be quiet. We're not gonna be quiet because we're tired of it. If somebody else takes over, what are they going to do for us? What are they really going to do for us? Because you get to a point where you don't even want to live here. You don't want to, it ain't that you don't want to live in Plainfield. It's that you don't want to live where you are. But being that we don't have the money to move up and get out of here like we want to, we think that we should be treated fairly.
That's right.
We should be treated fairly.
That's right.
So it's not just, us coming to the meeting just to support whoever's managing us. No, who's supporting us? Because we're fighting for ourselves. But then when we say something, it's always a problem. It's a problem when we say stuff, and if it don't go right, it's like we're lost. But then now everybody care for us. Why everybody care for us now? With the money that was going with, I don't see no cops around here. So I think the city probably owe us some money. The city probably owes Liberty Village some money then. Because at the end of the day, what? Money being put into the police, fire only down the street. So where does money get taken out from us to go to the city? Like for what?
So you're saying that your apartment they're just patching holes up and they're not really fixing it?
Everything is previous owners, it's suitable to fit. It's suitable to fit, what goes on. But I'm not saying that to slander anybody. But what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
Absolutely.
That's what it is. Because we gotta live through this, we gotta live through that, and then we gotta keep having people coming in our house, come whenever they feel like it. That's not fair to us.
Thank you so much, Chanel.
I just moved to Liberty Village 3 years ago, and I just want to say that since I've been there, and I wrote some of the things down that the guy Sanchez, thank you for your input, that he was saying, and they said something about police presence. I would like for you to go into detail, because the only police presence I see is them riding down Liberty Street, cutting across the second parking lot to cut through the buildings to get to New Street. Now, we did that. I'm sure we get in trouble. Why y'all can't drive straight down Liberty, make a right on Second, and a right on New, am I right? And then go through the parking lot. But no, they cut through. And I call the police station. I call the police station. I even talked to some of the people on that I went to school with, and they say call the police station. I call the police station. I tell them, just 3 days ago they did it. 2 cars, boom. They don't go like easy. It's 96 units. Just imagine how many children. they don't go slow. And I'm not slandering the police. I love some of the people that's on the police force, and some of them I don't know, they're kind to me. And another thing I want to say, I lived here for 3 years. It's so good to see Mr. H here. And Mr. H was just taking over. He's not here anymore, but he always treated me kind. Any problem or issue I had with, the apartment, now I'm going to the apartments. The police presence I would like talked about. And now I just want to say about, the housing. Everybody has their own issue with everything. But I want to say, every time I went over there and reported something, they've come over there and helped me. Like I said, Mr. H was there. He's no longer there. And, the new people, Alice and Talia. And Ronald. Where's Ronald? Ronald was always good. And I just want to say, everybody do have different stories. And yes, I've had some things go on in my home, and I've asked them to come in and fix it. And I would say, they don't come right away, but sometimes they do, some days, but they have other things on the agenda, and they would get to me. And about the pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, aka pilot agreement. Now you say you want 6.28% to 10%, and you said that. And one thing I heard was the police presence. Once again, I'm going back. What police presence besides them zooming through the middle of the building? And the last thing was, the cameras. On site, they said they want cameras, more cameras. There's cameras there, but they're not, as I know it, they're not even working. They have cameras. I've seen them install them. Right, Miss Ace, they installed them when you were there. And I don't even know if they work. Because there's some things that's going on around there and they don't work. And I'm saying this, these were the things that you mentioned in the agreement. And like I said, yes, I have some concerns about the police presence and the cameras for safety, because it has gotten better since I lived there. I don't have any complaints. It's not where you live at, it's how you live in, and I love where I live at. And I just want to say the people that's working there now, IRM, I know them as IRM, Interstate something management. Somebody somebody that worked at Wendell. What's R stand for? It's IRM anyway. They're doing a pretty good job, and I just wanted to stand up and say that. But I still want my questions answered about that police presence and zooming through the...
People don't know me, but I know I love Fourth Ward. Now, I may not live in the Fourth Ward, but I walk the Fourth Ward. I've walked it with Vera, I've walked it with Joanne, I've walked it with anybody that wanted it. And I've always said the Fourth Ward, as far as I'm concerned, is the richest ward. Not in money, but in heart. And if I'll knock on any door and they open it, and they're always willing to say, why are you here? What can I do for you? Do you need something? But I'm going to tell you this much. If this deal goes through, which I hope it does, remember this. I walked the Fourth Ward. Did anybody else? Hello? When was the last time anybody went in your unit that was in charge of HUD from the city or anybody that's in power? Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you want in this contract, tell them what you want. You want new refrigerators, new dishwashers, new bathrooms, new floors. Put it in there. In the contract. New floors, new bathrooms. You can do this. It's your city. It's your city. You can take it back. You can make it better. Yes, there should be police presence, not in cars, but walking. Knocking on the doors. Hi, I am Joe Blow. I want you to know I'm here for you, and if you need anything, here's my card. Come on, we can do this. This is a great town. You are the richest people because of your hearts, and you deserve better. Don't get snookered again. You have to think for 2 weeks. If you didn't know what you read, you should have gone to the man who wrote it. That's right. Please take it.
Excuse me. Can I have y'all's attention for a few minutes, please? Just for a few minutes. My name is Mustafa Muhammad. A lot of you know me as Chunny Lane. Now, I don't live in Liberty Village, but I've been here all my life, and I hung and ran them streets. I'm sure enough a grassroots fourth ward person. I love Plainfield. Now, let me just give you some context here of what's taking place. Like you just heard, the former developer, owner, had it for approximately 32 years, 30 to 32 years, and he got it with the contingency that he would build a community room that we never really remembered. That was up to par if you measure it with the benchmarks and the best practices of communities that don't reflect black people in particular. We did not get what we're supposed to do. That's number one. The other thing is, like the Assemblyman said, ain't nobody giving us nothing. Nobody giving us nothing. We get what we deserve. Right. What belongs to you. But now we do have a long track record of a developer who did business and is doing business with a new developer, and that old developer didn't hold to none of their promises. And as grassroots people, we know people always make us promises and don't never keep them. They never keep them. For 30 years, they did not keep their promises. $1.5 million came up missing or around that figure somewhere. Did not go into your place. Come up here, Brother Howard. Come on up here and stand next to me, because I know they know you real good. Now, I know Butch's mother, who lived there. We just did her funeral not too long ago, right, Pastor? Yeah. Well, in her house, there was mold and mildew everywhere, and a lot of you still got the same thing. This was your contract. His wife was your manager. And we know what the developers did. They got rid of them because they refused to do the patchwork that they wanted them to do, right? You know, it's true. It's true. Let me finish. Let me say what you want to say. You can say what you want to say after I get finished. They know. They know. They live in those conditions. They know. They know. Because you're fired. I know you did. This is my brother. He grew up with it. I know that. Now, the other thing is this. See, so now what I'm saying to you is this. This is what we want to make sure of. Listen to me, family, please. Please listen to me. This is what we want to make sure of. Now, this is a footnote that I want to add to that. We have a professional person who has a long history of working with HUD, finance, and banking that said to us, if we just request, even though you're not going to get put out anyway, but I want to show you your safety valve. Your safety valve, if we request an extension so that we can solidify the deal, rather it be with the administration, with you, and with the stipulations that we want to make, that money should go on escrow, and there should be some penalties if they don't do what they're supposed to do. The farmers didn't have no penalties, so they walk away. They drain the money out of it. It went down. Now they're walking away. They pass it to somebody new. Now they use us the same way. So now this is what we're supposed to be doing, making sure that they don't stick it to us again. See, so now in our unity there's strength. In our unity, we can negotiate. We can hold the council, our elected officials, to negotiate for us. Like the young lady was just saying, she made some good points, but then she got off because she got personal. This ain't personal. I ain't got nothing personal against none of them. I might don't agree with them. I might don't agree with the administration, and I'm still wondering about some of the deals, the hidden deals that done took place, because we don't know everything. There ain't no real transparency here. The one thing is for certain, we do have power, and we can make demands. And you don't have to fear. Don't be fearful. Don't fear the devil. They'll flee from you. This is the mind of the devil that's manipulating you like this. You know, so we just need to make demands. We just not need to be disorganized. Don't get all wild, bent out of shape. Don't get rattled. Just because a joke will go in your grill. Just regroup yourself and just fight back. That's all, plain and simple. But the thing is this. We want to make sure that the new developer, if this deal go through, written and stipulated within the contract, with money going to escrow like it didn't do before. See, because the old developer passed away, the children took over it. The children took over it. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. They managed it themselves. Then eventually it got down to this, where you had a good brother that come from your home, because he come from here too. We grew up right here in the hood now. But every time he tried to do something for you, they wanted you to do patchwork. To cover it up. That wasn't right. They got rid of him. Y'all know the story. You said... You know the story. Well, he's right here. He's right here. He's right here.
Can I say something? I was with the previous owners. I live right there on the, I love the place. I know everybody. Everybody knows me. I used to live at 436, 434, and Mr. Howard knows how my apartment was. I used to live there 2 years without no fixing. My apartment was falling apart. I had to live there with my daughter. She was my neighbor. And I had 2 years without fixing. When he came to my apartment and he seen my apartment, he refused to do any patchwork. He told me I had to move out of the apartment, so they had to fix all the apartment. And thanks to him, it happened for me. But other than that, they was going to my apartment. Yep. And then they put me right next door. But thanks to the, after him, the new management, I think everybody in the new, the office, everybody is, thanks to everybody, everything is good now. But that's all I want to say.
Is there any other residents that want to speak? Oh, I'm sorry. How you doing?
I'm the old owner tonight. I've been in my apartment 12 years. Is anybody from the new management just taking us over? Are they here? Are they going to speak to us?
They have a holiday, a very, very sacred holiday that they couldn't be here.
Jewish holiday. I'm confused because I met that man over there. He said he was the old owner. The one right there in the blue shirt. Yeah, he's still the
I'm sorry? So he's the old man. I mean, he's the one that's going to be moved out. Someone else is taking over. He's the seller. He's part of the seller. Okay, I'm sorry.
Doesn't get signed or posted, what happens? That's what we keep on asking, but nobody Bessie, can you speak?
I called down to Diane and HUD so that I can get an answer to that. And I still don't have the answer. I don't know.
That's what we need to know.
Yes.
So her name is Sonia. Sonia something. She's Spanish.
What happened if the college doesn't?
Again, my understanding based on the documents that I received, if the pilot doesn't pass by the time of May 9th or May 7th, whatever the date is, that simply means that the transaction cannot go through. And the current owner will have to deal at that time with HUD and try to negotiate something else with HUD. But the buyer is saying that if this doesn't go through, they will probably step out of the transaction. That's basically the information that I have.
Thank you. One second. Before Ms. Bessie stand up, let me hear from you. Okay. She can talk.
Well, listen, I live in Liberty Village. I understand what everybody here talking about. Because when a lot of maintenance work needed to be done, sometimes the maintenance people, they don't have enough help, or the money problem is for the equipment maybe not there. And a lot of people used to come to me, like I was the maintenance. I did a lot of work there too. I do that too. But on Mother's Day, I woke up in my apartment. I woke up in my apartment with 4 inches of feces through my house because of the plumbing work, and I had to clean that because the plumbing system is always messing up. Huh? About 2 years ago. 2 years ago. I woke up with almost 4 inches of feces from my kitchen through my dining room. on Mother's Day, my wife got me up and told me
Reverend, tell him.
that you need to come downstairs. We got a flood. I walked downstairs. I got feces floating. I mean, feet floating through my house.
I said Diane from her, but I'm sorry, it wasn't Diane, it was Sonia Burgess that I reached out to from her. And one of the things that was brought to me that in order for us to move this forward, Carlos, why don't you welcome a few of the residents to be on the committee to work with you to get this pilot done. That would be, I mean, at least if you have some strong volunteers from the residency, they can take it back to all the other residents.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stan Perlman. I'm one of the owners of the Liberty Village Park. There was a lot of misinformation, particularly from you, that I heard this evening, and I just want to set the record straight. The property was built in the early 80s, and the ownership at that time signed a 30-year HAP contract and a 50-year pilot agreement. They also signed a 30-year management agreement with the Housing Authority of Plainfield. And the Housing Authority of Plainfield, for the next 26 years, virtually made all the decisions on the property without any input from the ownership whatsoever. And then in 2009, the general partner died, and I got involved, and I took over the management of the partnership. For many months, I'd come to the property, and I'd meet Randy Wood and his staff, and I'd ask to see the vacant units, which is something one normally does when they visit an apartment complex. And Randy would never let us go into the units. They had bed bug problems, or they were just rented, or they were, there was some reason we couldn't get into them. And I became very suspicious. And then one day, I drove to the property and I knocked on 9 doors, which was about 10% of the apartment complex. And I took pictures and I took statements from people. I don't know if anybody's here from those 9. Were you here when I came? And I saw things that I was disgusted by. I saw, cockroaches in people's kitchen cabinets, and mold coming down the walls, and water leaking in their units, and toilet bowls that didn't flush, holes in the floor the size of a basketball with a carpet over it. All of this, abuse to the tenants. And I say, why didn't you complain? And they said, oh, we did, but we were afraid they'd kick us out. And I got statements from them, and unfortunately, we had to file a lawsuit. I don't know if you know about this, but we filed a lawsuit against the Housing Authority of Plainfield, and we settled it by them agreeing not to manage the property anymore, which I think was the best thing we ever did for the tenants. And then we went around, because we're not affordable housing owners. We kind of inherited the ownership of this because the general partner died. And we asked around for the biggest and the best manager of affordable housing in the United States, and we found Interstate. And we brought Interstate in on January 1st, 2011, and we gave them absolute authority to 100% renovate the property. And they went through every single one of the 96 units, and we replaced, I have a list of it, we replaced 78 heating units out of 96, 105 refrigerators and stoves, 38 new kitchen cabinets and countertops. Has anybody had any of those that are here? 25 new hot water heaters, new roofs in all the buildings, all 12 buildings to stop the roof leaks, new screens and replacement windows. We tiled the bathrooms, we fixed the floors, we changed the plumbing fixtures, and we repainted. And the window guard. So we did everything we possibly could to make it better for you all. And I apologize for the first 26 years, but Council and Representative Green, we weren't the ones making those decisions. The Housing Authority of Plainfield was. And now we're at the crossroads of the property. The existing HAP contract is expiring. Our purchaser, I don't know if anybody knows them, Trico, who's not currently managing the property, but they did help us get the higher REACT score, are excellent owners. They own 6,000 units. They own 1,500 of affordable housing units in New Jersey. And we looked long and hard, because all of you people, I've met some of you, you're good people, and you love living in Liberty Village, and there's no reason to kick you out or to treat you poorly. So we looked very hard to find the right company to take over the management and the ownership. Interstate's a great manager, but they don't own it. These guys are owner managers. and they care very deeply about their communities. And I welcome you to see other properties that they own and manage, to see how they conduct their business. And we're at a crossroad now. We first came to the city council, we met at Liberty Village. Councilman Storch was there, Bridget Rivers was there, Mayor-elect Mapp was there. And we introduced Trico, and we said, we just need you to extend and assign this pilot agreement to the new buyer. Several meetings happened after that, and then on April 8th, I believe, it was brought to the city council and didn't get the vote. And then on April 15th, again, brought to the city council and didn't get a vote. And now we're at a position where we want to sign this 20-year HAP contract. We want Trico to be the new owner. I think that the mayor did a very good job. He increased the pilot rate 60%. 6.28 to 10% is a big increase in taxes for the city, and I think he did a wonderful job. The community room, I've heard some talk about that. The community room, we only took back in 2011 because we had to stage all that construction. We were bringing in truckloads of appliances and kitchen cabinets, and the only reason we took that back from you was to stage the construction. The construction's now done, and it'll be returned to you. And it'll be improved, and they've promised to put in computers and build a laundry room. They're going to get the security system improved, and it's going to go to the police. And I truly believe if the city council votes for this pilot agreement so this HAP contract can get signed, you're going to be much happier residents of Liberty Village. That's why we're here, is to ask the city council to please vote for you so you can have 20 more years of affordable housing. And rumors that I heard that are happening that you could get evicted, they're not untrue. If the HAP contract doesn't get signed because the pilot doesn't get approved, that could happen. It's a real thing. And I trust in the city council. When Bridget Rivers says she's going to have a special session to get the pilot approved, I trust that that will happen. And then the HAP contract gets signed and you get a new owner.
Well, let me just say this. I never said I would have a special meeting to get the pilot signed.
That's right.
What I stated was is that if it's necessary, that we would have a special meeting because we don't want residents out on the street. But in order for us to have a special meeting, we need everything done in writing. We cannot just go with what you're saying. We cannot just go with what the new owners that's coming in are saying, because we went with what was said before and nothing was done. So we have to have everything in writing. And so
one housing had it. I love Mr. Marshall's desk. You don't know, but they were terrible. These people came in like Alice and this lady there, and they really felt like they cared about us.
About the maintenance that was going on in our property. It was called, it was documented, a lot of stuff. It called North, it called the North office. And we used maintenance that was going on in our property. And then when we called housing authority, it was a problem. You complain and complain. You might have to pay base rent if you complain too much. You probably got a problem. I know I did.
I never stopped complaining, girl. I complained
last
to the
thing
day.
is when I understand it was on the block, and he also said it also that Mr. Green reached out to Mr. Storch in reference to this this agreement, and at that time Mr. Storch reached out to council members. And nothing was done, nothing was said. We didn't say whether we were going to agree on this. We didn't come up with nothing. So let's just clear the air, because a lot of times misinformation get out there. Council President Bridget Rivers did not sit down on any agreement that was made when it comes to this Liberty Village, because these residents would have been informed first. That's how we operate here in the fourth ward. We don't just sit down with you and say we're going to do it. No, that's not how it works. We have to get our residents involved, and we have to get everything we need in writing. That's extremely important. So let's not put out misinformation. We might have sat down and we might have, he might, that's all it was an introduction on the strength of Chairman, this is our county chairman, our Assemblyman Green. That's it, that's all. I don't know anything about this contract. I will not honor this contract until we get what's right from these residents, because I will say this, I'm tired of everybody saying that the pilot program, if it doesn't pass on the 7th, they're going to be on the street. Stop saying this to the residents, because that's incorrect. It's not true. You're trying, to me, it makes me feel like you're trying to force something on us that ain't right. So I read everything, and I want to make sure that it's right for the residents here. I'm not just going to sign or say, council, let's vote on this if it ain't right. I'm sorry. You cannot scare me on the blogs. You cannot scare me in the public into doing something that I don't feel comfortable doing. Come on. And I just want to make that clear.
Listen, there's a lot of lies. I don't care what happened. There's a lot of lies you put on me. If I was a thief, bring it to court. If they need to bring it to court, if I was a thief, you need to bring it to court. Tell that damn lie on me. Got my daughter doing your thing. Another thing is, as far as you talking about the police, they ran into your house. Am I correct? It took 3 months for them to repair it. The work that they were doing, they were trying to get me to do patch. They were trying to get me to do patchwork. I'm not a patchworker. I don't do patchwork. I went to Miss Webb's house. She had so much mold in there that Miss Webb. And she had so much mold in there. And they're telling me to patch her floors in her bathroom. This woman in a wheelchair, you want her to fall through the floors? What is wrong with you?
You get my mold out my wall too.
She came 9 times that I know of, and they never finished doing her part. They came and lied to her. She would come to the office, they would tell her lies.
Tell them about it.
Christine, she would come to the office and they would tell her lies. I don't even think that they even finished doing her floor properly. When the first builders built that place in the early 80s, they put plywood on the floor, which was okay. Then they put concrete on the floor, which was okay. Then they put tile on top of that, which was okay. But what wasn't okay was, I'm a contractor, y'all, and a contractor in the state of New Jersey could top me.
I didn't get my cash.
Now, the thing is, what was wrong with it is that they never put the roofing paper between the plywood and the concrete. So the concrete, the moisture, the water from the concrete soaked the plywood, absorbed all the water. Now the water, the plywood is dry rotted. Now, it's Miss Beverly, your nephew. This man's nephew, and I'm a liar, fell right through the floor. I had to come and redo it.
That's when housing had it. Yeah.
No, that wasn't when housing had it. That's when this man took over. I was there. You were there. You were there. You were not there. I know what happened. Y'all need to stop them bamboozling. Don't let them bamboozle. I ain't scared. They can't do nothing to me. Legally or illegally. Y'all do what y'all got to do.
That is
No, that's when I was.
Hi everyone, my name is Rebecca Williams, and I'm another member of the City Council. I'm a member of the City Council. I represent the 2nd and 3rd wards at large, and with regard to this resolution that needs to, I supported this resolution because all the terms are spelled out in the resolution. If you want a copy of the resolution, you can get it from the city website. I'm sure that the councilors from the 4th ward can give it to you. I can give it to you, so you can see what the terms are. If there are additional terms that anyone wants, that's when you can talk to Mr. Sanchez. But the reason we're here today really is to dispel misinformation and to let you understand. And I thought Mr. Sanchez did a good job of explaining, what's in the pilot agreement and, what was with the housing contract. I think that it's a good deal. I think that, these new owners, they do own thousands of units and they have an excellent reputation for management. The other thing is, they are not the owners yet, so they are under no obligation to do anything right now, because it would be like me buying, if I'm buying a house but I don't own the house, I'm not going to fix the house. Now, they have been doing some management, assistance with, Trico I'm talking about with the current folks. But what I would like to say is that in terms of the upgrades and the improvements, the additional washers and dryers, the improvements to the sidewalks, the cameras, to make sure that the security cameras work and work well, that would be something that you could bring to the table. I think it's a very good deal. I supported it. Councilwoman Brown supported it, and Councilman Stortz supported it. So we need more support to get this done. The buyers who are interested in taking over the property, they don't have to take it over. They could, conceivably walk away. They want to have their financing in place. The bank will not give them the financing to go forward with this deal unless that pilot is in place, from what I understand. Okay? So I think that, we've heard from you. It seems like you all are in support of Trico, this new management company, taking over and making the improvements. Do I have that right?
Yeah,
We need to talk to Tracey.
I mean, it's not that.
Yeah, I want to talk to Tracey.
That's
right.
She asked your question, do you agree with her, or you think
No,
you
we
want to know more
agree,
about
but
it?
we need to talk to Tracey.
I need to know who is Trico.
So I'm sure that Mr. Sanchez, who came here tonight, he can give you additional information. Again, you can get a copy of the resolution so you can see what's in there right now. Okay? Mr. Sanchez?
Well, not right now, because we have another.
No. Okay, I'll turn it over to Councilwoman Taylor.
Good evening, everybody. I think that it is good. First of all, I thank you all for coming out tonight because you are interested in empowering yourselves. This is your homes where you live. And so I want you to know that some of us did not vote for it. And I want to tell you why. The same reason you have to not just say yes to everything somebody tells you. You don't say yes because we got to see in black and white. Let me tell you something. Now, I was here 30 years ago. Some of you were my students. You know me. Okay? I was here 30 years ago. I know when they started this, what it was supposed to be, but 30 years later, we see the mess. And now you see people blaming the housing authority versus them. I don't know who did something, but somebody did something wrong, didn't they? So since that happened, we are not going to be stupid again. And so as your representatives who came from this city with you and taught you and did everything else with y'all, we know that we're not going to be duped again. The only thing we ask for as the members of the council is that we want to see the deal. We also have some questions. If they didn't fix stuff 30 years ago, all the way up to now, and you said you got holes and all that stuff, what happened? What happened to the zoning and the property violations that everybody, I know I get fined if I don't mow my lawn. So what happened to these people that they were allowed by Plainfield standards, hold up, to do this to the degree that they have done it? Now that looks like things are going to get better. I am not anti what they have said to us. It sounds really good to me too, okay? But what sounds good is not always good. You got to dot your I's and cross the T's. That's all the council is asking for. It does not have to take 5 months, okay? And you need to ask questions. We want to find out, let me say, now I'm not an expert in real estate law. If you didn't pay the bills, if you didn't fix the places like you should have been, you were not fined, or something didn't happen, because you should have been fined or they should have been shut down. Something should have happened. It didn't happen, mysteriously. So now, how can we assure? One of the ways you assure is that money is put aside to fix stuff. Because stuff breaks and all of that. Once they put your new stuff in there, it's going to get broken. Things need repair and maintenance. So we want to know, where is this money going to come from the new people? That's not a bad thing to ask. And they probably have an answer. And so we say, okay, so don't say you now agree with whatever they said, the speaker before me. Don't agree with them. They're not even here. We don't know who they are. What we want to do is to ensure that this doesn't happen again. How do you ensure? They put money aside in escrow in some kind of way so we know that those things are going to be taken care of. That's what the kinds of questions that we're asking, okay? We're not trying to wait past the deadline and all of that. Yes, the council needs to come back together. We need to get more information. We need to ask some of the questions I asked. I'm listening to what you're saying, because some of this is new to me. I didn't know people had to live like this. Well, why didn't somebody get fined before? That's my question. Well, what was the problem then that now all of a sudden we're all concerned because the new people are taking over? Well, what happened to the old people? Why didn't they get fined? I want to know that, because I would have got fined if I owned the house.
Because soon as the city came to charge it, they had me fix it quick.
Okay.
That's what.
All right.
And they
See?
picked whatever unit that they wanted them to go into.
That's right.
They didn't eliminate the units that they wanted to already. They went into them. They go right back into the same units instead of the units that they knew. The paperwork was getting thrown away. Work orders was getting thrown away. Oh, people don't know what's going on. They don't know. You can come here and make that work order, but then they were sending people back into the same apartments that they went into the last time and was going back into them again.
See, the truth comes out. Okay. And wait, it's water over the dam now. You don't need to say nothing, because you leaving it and it's going to another place, right? Yes, ma'am. All right, I'll let you answer the question. I appreciate you, honey. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
She's my management. I just think she has something to say, because anytime I come to her with anything, she's helped. That's Bessie right there. Aaliyah's helped. Yeah.
I just want to speak really quick on the past management, and I think there are, how would you say, there are things in place to prevent the type of housing that you were subjected to. The property was never registered with DCA, with the state of New Jersey. With DCA, they are required to come out every 5 years and inspect your unit. They actually make sure everyone had to be held accountable. And I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. Housing authorities normally do not have to register with DCA. They do not have to. Where the mistake fell was, okay, housing authority normally does not have to if it's a housing authority property. Housing authority did not register a privately owned property that was managed. And that's where it fell through. That was where the loophole happened. So for 20 some odd years, you were never inspected by DCA, therefore the property was never maintained the way it should have been by code standards. Okay, so when we did come in and we went and we tried to find out the registration number, found out that it was never registered, you were bombarded with inspections. Before the original inspection, before we came in 2009, the REACT inspection, which was referenced, it received a 48. And that was just on the units alone. Okay, that's not with any other, health and safety things. With the unit inspection that was referenced in July, that they did receive a 57, and I will say I was there, and yes, it did happen. But the unit inspections were brought up to a 78, and that was the units. We lost point for life and safety. There was a couple things that we did miss. There was a lot of work that needed to be done. Howard walked in the inception. We had Ronald Count, who was there. There was Al. There were some individuals that were there and knew the amount of work that was. And yes, I will say for Chanel, there had to be some patchwork because of the amount of work that was there and the time frame in which we had to try to turn it around to get it ready for the REACT inspection. Because if we failed another REACT inspection, the subsidies were jeopardized again. So there's a reason behind these things, but just know that going forward with a new owner and being registered with the state, you have those safeguards in place. Because if the state is involved, you're subject to fines. They will fine you if you don't make those repairs. For 26 years, they weren't subject to it because they never registered. So it could have been that, being that they managed and they're not used to that, I might have been a slip. It's very possible. I'm not here. But this is what happened. These are where those safeguards and those loopholes, this is where Liberty Village, I say, fell through the cracks. All right? We came in. I know a lot of the families. I was in your units. I've seen your apartments. Yes, we did try to. Yes, we did do some patchwork. I'm not going to say. Yes, Alice was there when Miss Webb was there. Alice made sure Miss Webb's apartment was cleaned out with the mold. The amount of water, the water bill was astronomical, and the sewage bill because of all the leaks in the building. Those have now since stopped. Everything has reduced because those were addressed. So please, I do understand your frustration. Trust me, I know. I know where the possibilities, where things had fell to the wayside, where Liberty Village was overlooked by where they should have been inspected. I get that. I understand. And I'm not saying that it was, housing authority. There are safeguards. There are mechanisms in place to prevent that from happening again, as far as the living conditions. All right. So with that being said, I don't benefit from this at all. I tell you, because I am out. And I love these folks. In the little bit of time that I have spent with you. Okay, I always get emotional. But I don't want to see them affected. I don't want to see them lose the lose the subsidies, because again, unfortunately, because the sale of the property was to go through earlier in the year. Now, this is where the rush is coming in, because of the fact that the time frame has expired. We don't have time to put in another contract or a HAP contract or a submit one. So this one is, we're trying to work with what we have in place right now, what HUD has in their hands, opposed to trying to submit. HUD has a shortage of employees. It takes 6 months to get something approved, if not maybe longer. Okay. So this is why we're here, to try to see if we can work this out.
We just want, can I say to you, I appreciate your heart.
Yes.
Okay. Thank God you're there, honey. And sometimes you can't do everything. Some things are out of your power, but it does. So I appreciate her, and I feel her heart, and I know you do too. So at least we have that. But on the other hand, if stuff went on, somebody should have been held accountable. And I say that even Plainfield should have held them accountable. I'm not going to say that HUD didn't do. What did we do? We should have done our part in terms of the Plainfield. We have rules. We have, if your property's not kept up, you get those little signs, those little fines, and we all get them. So I have a problem that didn't happen. However, as we move on, can I ask if before the sale, since this is Mr. Carlos, if the city is going to inspect, that's part of the deal, to inspect, or state or someone going to inspect, so that we'll have all of these safeguards and know what's really.
Yes, normally what will happen is HUD will do an inspection so that to make sure that they know exactly what they're transferring. Also, in addition to what we have on the in writing, is that the current facility has to pass all city inspections before we allow the closing to take place. For instance, he did mention that they upgraded and changed a lot of the boilers and the hot water system. The problem was that they went ahead and changed that without permits. So now they have rectified most of that issue already, from what I understand from the city inspectors. So, but again, an inspector from the city will go out and make sure that any violations from the city's point of view is rectified before we.
What about from the state? What about from the state?
Right.
We passed the DCA.
Right.
We passed DCA.
And I just want to clarify one thing you basically said. You said Housing Authority didn't register with the DCA. I was told, and I mean, Housing Authority can't speak because I believe there's some type of lawsuit going on. Housing Authority was not supposed to register. The owner of the management company was supposed to register. The owner of the property was supposed to register. So before we say Housing Authority, we blame it, putting a lot on Housing Authority, and can't speak at this time.
So now, moving forward, that's one of our other conditions that we have on the contract. Part of our conditions is that Obviously, a new contract has to be granted, which is in place right now. We need to get written verification from HUD that they have reviewed the transaction and that they are approving the transaction on their side. Obviously, we will have to get final confirmation from the lender, which is Community Preservation Group or something like that. They specialize in providing funding for affordable housing. So we have received a term sheet. Now we're just waiting for the final commitment letter from them. If that doesn't happen, we just going to sign on the bottom line. And obviously, we have also a condition that we need to just get something in writing from DCA that they have registered. And that's part of our conditions that we have laid out to the new owner, to the new potential owner, I'm sorry.
What about making sure that there's money aside for repairs and maintenance and all of that, so we don't have this problem? Is that gonna be an escrow? Is that gonna be a part of it?
Can I just answer?
They need to put around the perimeters of every one of those buildings, 75%, Wendell is my witness, Ronald was a witness. They have water in them basements. So you gotta excavate around all them buildings and have them tapped into
Usually with the financing, just real quick, because I do work at NJHFA and we've done a lot of the mortgages as well. But usually with financing, escrow is a part of that.
Escrow, so for the repairs and the maintenance.
The banks will usually hold on tax, insurance.
Listen,
and
y'all, 'cause it's your
a reserve
property.
and a replacement escrow.
Okay, so there will be money set aside for
There
that.
should be, and you see it on the HUD form.
Right, that's correct, but let's make sure that we're clear. Those escrow monies will be controlled by the lender. The city will not have any access to that or anything like that. It's strictly controlled by the lender. So whoever, in this case, is Community Preservation Corporation, it's going to be the lender. So they are going to have escrow accounts, just like any other lender. They're going to have water, they're going to have tax, they're going to have a certain amount of money in case they have to take over the property that they can repair them. But again, we as the city will not have any right or any control on those monies. So just let's make sure, but she's right, it will be escrow.
What assurances will there be this time that didn't take place the last time?
Because the escrows only get released.
Hold on, let's have order, 1 second. Can I recognize, and then we'll get your question, I just wanted to see if freeholder, our freeholder, everybody, see how important you are? Linda Carter is here, if she wanted to say something, or she would just want to recognize that she's here, so you got the VIPs here, y'all. And then, of course, Pamela, say hello. She is our county, she's the county representative for Plainfield and lives here. And lives in Plainfield. The second person is Pamela Dunn Hale, I believe, who is the president or chairperson of the Housing Authority is also here, so she is hearing everything about the Housing Authority, and she's going to take that back. Let's recognize her, please. Miss. All right. There's another question, sir.
Yes. Good evening, y'all. How y'all doing? Jerry, bless y'all. Question. Yes. Yes. Question.
Question. They keep referring to they. When are the residents going to be able to meet the actual new owners instead of having people speak up for them? Who are they and when are they going to show up so the residents can speak to the actual owners?
They are there now.
Where?
Again, let me just make sure that everybody understands that when the meeting was called, they did call the city council president and they called me and they excused themselves because they do have a holiday. So that holiday doesn't end until tomorrow at sundown, if I'm not mistaken.
When is the date that they're going to meet with the residents?
Whenever the residents want. The problem that we have is here is that, again, we need to get this approved by the May 9th or 7th of the contract. But if you guys, if it's the wish, they can come and meet with them at the end of this week, early next week. They have offered to meet.
You guys gonna make yourself available to meet with
We are.
Right in the middle, and listen real loud.
Let's try to bring this meeting to some type of closure with some good answers for these people to be able to go home and be relaxed. Number one, I am reaching out with the congressman so that we can actually get some answers on the side of HUD in terms of exactly what they can do to be of help with this particular issue. I don't want to go through what I went through with the Conleys. I offered to sit down with them. They disagreed. So I'm surprised to hear everybody knows anytime you have 4 or more units, the state of New Jersey come in to inspect. For that to have happened, somebody somewhere dropped the ball. And we're not going to let that happen again. So my question to you is that let's let these people feel that we want to do the right thing so they don't come out here tonight and feel uncomfortable. The question I like to ask is that if the city, listen carefully, the council, and I have no problem sitting down in the meeting and bringing in anybody, whoever I have to bring to the meeting, including the congressman, to make sure all of us are on the same page. But if everybody is working on the same page, is there a possibility your organization, by the way, we met 6 months ago, you were very polite, the other owner agreed he did mess up, am I correct? I'm talking about the previous owner.
I wasn't at the meeting, sir.
Or was another guy at the meeting? What the problem is the way you talk tonight, and I listen to everybody. You do have a lot of say in the whole process. Is it possible the council and the administration and the community can have a time to be able to sit down and work out all the things, including security? That should be in their budget, because the city of Plainfield, I'll be honest with you, you have other units of this magnitude where the owner supplies security. So we should not just depend on the city of Plainfield, we should make that part of whatever agreement we make. My question to you is that if we can get Washington to work with us, the congressman to work with us, I'm prepared to work with you, the city prepared to work with you, and the community.
Right.
Bring them to the table, because these young ladies brought up a lot of good points. It's obvious nobody's listening to them. I'm saying, is it possible that we can get this extended to we have everybody on the same page? So if we do buy into this process, everybody has an opportunity. I have a problem with 11th hour, the way it was handled.
Absolutely.
It could have been handled a lot better than it was handled. So my question to you, can you give me some idea, what can we do tonight to work together? I'm putting my hands out to you. I want to work with you. I want to make this happen. But we're not going to rush through it.
Right.
These people are not going to hurt no more when it comes to housing in Plainfield, the state of New Jersey, as long as I'm in charge. Is that fair enough now? I do this all over the state, so this is nothing new to me. I'm saying to you, is it possible we could sit down, get extension, till we all get on the same page? Is that possible?
It's possible for, sure, we would agree with that 100%. We have attorneys in Washington who deal with HUD every day, and they've told us it's not possible to extend the deadline. If you know people at HUD and you can get it extended, we've been told sometimes you can extend a HAP contract for 3 months at a time. We were told that's not possible in this case. It absolutely can't be done. We use Nixon Peabody, Monica Sussman. She's one of the best attorneys. And if you can do it, sir, then we're absolutely willing to do it.
Well, first of all, number one, I like to feel we should have did this 2 months ago. Am I right or wrong? Am I correct? Am I right? Well, I'm saying to you, I'm saying to you, the problem we're running into is the 11th hour. I can't promise you that, but I'm going to ask the congressman, can you work with me on that? Whatever I can do to help. But I'm not the congressman, I'm the United States Senator. But I'm going to make sure when I talk to him tomorrow, you made it very clear, this has to happen now. And I'm confident that I was told at a similar meeting when we had the storm, same meeting, you will not get one of those centers in Plainfield because Plainfield was not designated to have a center in order to deal with the storm and the money, etc. I got on the phone with the congressman. In 2 days, we had a center here in the city of Plainfield. So I'm not going to say it can't be done,
but I'm gonna do everything in my power to get it done. And maybe on your end, and Carlos, on your end, since you say we're friends, we're friends. But the reality is that's just the way I roll, and that's just the way it is. So if you can look on your end, I look on my end, but I want these people to leave knowing that we're gonna try to come up with what's good for them. Fair enough now? Thank you.
Find out as residents if you guys can get an extension on this, is that all possible?
We can follow with a meeting. Have a group of concerned citizens from the complex, reach out for your council person, and participate. I want you at the meeting.
I want to be at the meeting.
Well, that's what I suggested.
So we need to just get together and have a meeting on our, well, we need to find out if it's extended, right? So
Yes.
our management or should
Jackie,
you,
Councilwoman and I, we will walk around like we did on Saturday and inform you what the status is and inform you if there's an extension. Because I don't, again, I just want to make sure that this is the best project for Liberty Village. This is why I did not, and as my colleague said, I did not support it. Because I'm not going to support anything at the 11th hour. So we're going to make sure that whatever we support, the council people support, the rest of us that didn't support it, it's going to be for the best interest of Liberty Village, the residents, not us. Because I'm not making a dime off of this project either. So it's going to be for the best interest of you guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks again for coming out. Thank you so much back there. Thank you.
We just had a wonderful meeting with the residents of Liberty Village, and as a councilwoman, I was very concerned and realized how important it was for us to be here. Some people have a lot of rumors going around, and this new deal in terms of the new owners, prospective owners for this particular complex, the council was quite concerned, and we wanted to make sure that there were safeguards so that residents would not be subjected to all of the violations and all of the horror stories that they told us tonight about concerning why their property was not kept up to par and the maintenance was not fulfilled like it should have been. So tonight this was a great meeting because we got info from the residents, and we are now able to go back and make at least a much more informed decision as to whether this deal for the new owners, whether the council should pass this. We do need to sit down in a meeting. We are upset. We were upset because the council was not a part of all of the negotiations as we should have been. If we were, instead of doing that, we were told in the 9th hour that this was a good deal. And so as responsible officials in the city, we are not going to just sign off because someone did a deal and they said it was the best deal unless we are involved and we can assure the residents that we have their interests at heart and that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that what they get is going to be the best for them and with them. So tonight's meeting was a really good step in doing that, and we're going to go back and see if we can get this done in the interest of our residents. Thank you very much.
It's important that we pass this resolution because we are out of time. We know that meetings occurred in the past, and this May 7th deadline is upcoming, and all the council needs to do is pass a resolution that we would extend the pilot. We're not signing the contract with the management company. HUD still has to review some things. So what we're doing is just passing a resolution saying that we would extend the pilot to the prospective new buyer. New buyer is under no obligation to come here and buy this property, but they want to buy it. They've made a number of upgrades and improvements even without owning the property. So I think it's incumbent on the other councilors to join Councilor Brown, Councilor Storch, and me and let this go through so that the residents can enjoy a quality of life. Thank you.
This meeting was extremely important for the residents of Liberty Village. We are not going to rush and do any type of pilots without having things in writing. These residents have been informed that they were going to get this, they were going to get that for far too long. And this time the buck stops with the council. And it's about the residents of Liberty Village getting their needs addressed. To hear that they have holes in their walls, holes in the floor, mildew. It should not only discuss me, but it should discuss everybody around the city of Plainfield. I'm the council person of the Fourth Ward, and I'm embarrassed for myself that I did not know that. And because the apartments that I've gone, I have very good friends that live in those apartments. And every time I went in there, every apartment that I went in, it's immaculate. It's not about those residents, it's about the residents that are not getting their needs met. And right now, I am so upset with myself for not representing them the way I should have. The plan of action is to sit down with a couple residents, the assemblyman, the new management company, the director, Mr. Sanchez, and come up with a plan. And if we have to do something immediately, we will. But we got to come up with a plan to save Liberty Village and do what's right for the residents. And it has to be in writing that they're going to take the funds and revamp all of the apartments in Liberty Village. Contact me. My phone number is 908-202-9448. Contact the assemblyman. Let's start a committee so that we can sit down and address the needs of Liberty Village. Thank you.